The amendment is clause E to Tono requested implementation of decisions as agreed by the other ones. It came here to be twice. It's the same thing. I can see it twice by mistake. It's just saying don't do it while the judicial review is proceeding. I've asked Meredith to, this requires just an understanding of what the legal situation is associated with this, because it is about a legal item, and so I've asked for Meredith to just clarify the implications, if any, of this, please.
So obviously we have an application for judicial review in. We're at a very early stage of the proceedings. We haven't yet had our first case management conference or filed our statement of defence. It could be some time before we get an outcome in the High Court. We obviously have to wait for a hearing to have a case before a judge, and then we have to wait for the judgment to be handed down. So we could be looking at a reasonably long delay before we get the outcome of the judicial review proceeding. A year would not be out of all possibility. In the circumstances what we're proposing to do is to go out and to consult with the public on the future of Western Springs Stadium. We don't think it's necessary for you to delay pending the outcome of those proceedings, and we would recommend that you proceed to take a decision today. It is, of course, legally open to you to decide to delay the matter if you would like to, but as I said, it could be some time.
Just to make this clear, there's nothing that makes us delay. We don't have to delay because of that. And are there any risks with delaying because we've got an EOI with expectations of timing?
Look, the clearest risk is obviously that one of your participants withdraws and then you have less options to move forward with. So, you know, a delay is obviously not a great idea, and as we said, it's a good time to go out and ask the public about what they want from Western Springs. So and to be completely clear, there is nothing that prevents you from continuing and to take decisions, notwithstanding the existing judicial review.
We might as well use the time as well. Quite clear, there's nothing preventing us from carrying on. Righto, thank you very much for that. Delay or not delay, it's pretty clear, so we may as well vote on it if we can.
Mr. Mayor, do you want me to speak to it now?
Sorry.
Okay. I'll be brief. The amendment is an attempt to ensure at least some good faith in the process going forward and to show respect to the court and acknowledge the legal proceedings in regard to the judicial review. There's nothing wrong with the council strongly supporting a certain initiative, passionately supporting a certain proposal or enterprise. Nothing wrong with a CCO doing that. Nothing wrong with council managers doing that at all. What is wrong is to predetermine a decision, and that appears to have been done by not complying with the decision-making process of the Local Government Act 76 to 78 in particular. And that is where we went off track, and that is where all the negative reaction has arisen from. The people, let me read the Act, a local authority must, in the course of its decision-making process in relation to a matter give consideration to the views and preferences of persons likely to be affected by or to have an interest in the matter. And that never happened, and now we face the legal consequences of that. Moreover, we weren't given all the information at the time about this now favoured proposal, the billionaire proposal, the 100-year alienation proposal, which now rejoices in the name
Hey, we're talking
the
about the
Auckland
delay
Arena.
here, please. We're
So-
not talking about the merits of the decisions, we're talking about why we would delay.
Okay, so the process going forward, unless we show some good faith here and some respect to the legal process, I'm afraid will just be another have your say and we're going to have our way. Same old, same old. There'll be no credibility in it. If we pause this decision pending the outcome of the judicial review, acknowledge that this council must comply with the law, the same as everyone else. This council is an enforcement agency and it expects people to obey the rules. But we must obey the rules ourselves, especially collectively, Mr. Mayor and fellow councillors, the one we swear to uphold as the part of our induction process formally as elected members. We haven't done that in this case and quite a few others. So therefore, essentially what I'm saying is making a plea, hold back on this consultation process to enable the judicial review to proceed and not preempt its outcome. There have been judicial reviews where the judge has found in favour of the plaintiffs, but because of facts on the ground, because of the amount of money that's been expended, the court has declined to take any further action. It would not rebound well on the council if this was to happen because of the council compounding one bad decision after another. So that's what I'm requesting the governing body to agree to pause the process. And actually, can I ask, Mr. Mayor, that it also include section A as well as B, C and D, just to complete the insurance that we don't go off with half of this and earn more public ire. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Just receiving the thing. I think you get what you want. I won't be supporting this because this is just an invitation for anyone who doesn't like anything we do just to lodge a judicial review. It costs bugger all. So absolutely nothing will ever get done in a council. If we support this, I'll be lodging a judicial review of every single building consent that somebody else has that affects me. So, but if you're all mad enough to do that, I think this is pretty plain. Can we just have a vote on this? As a second, are you amending him to amend that? Are you allowing to amend him to?
No, he wants to speak.
Add
You want
the
A
A
in that?
as well.
No, he wants to speak.
You want to speak to it? Okay.
I'll be relatively brief. This amendment actually comes out of the advice signalled in the risk section of the paper here, where our own officers talk about there being a reasonable degree of litigation risk associated with the decisions on the future of Western Springs Stadium. And as most people will probably be aware, the Western Springs Speedway Association has already filed legal proceedings in the High Court. They have at their option to take further legal proceedings if they so wish. and our officers, again, signal that litigation gives rise to uncertainty in the decision-making process and may have financial and reputational implications. I think that boat sailed, but still the reputational implications still go on for both the council and Tātaki, both of who have become intertwined here. Yesterday, we received via one of our senior managers also a letter from the KC, who's, I think, colloquial referred to as a top lawyer in the Herald article, who also made it clear. It's clear that the only prudent approach at this time is the third option, not progressing further with the EOI process until the judicial review proceedings have been determined. Judicial review proceedings cost a lot of money. They're not cheap. So I don't think every man and his dog goes out and take a judicial review unless you've got a bit of lolly in your back pocket. These people have fronted up with the money and are serious movers of this action. They're not going to back away. So I would have thought in those circumstances, we hear about the precautionary approach and goodwill, given the sorry litany of shortcomings. To me, I'm a layperson, it looks to me like a slam dunk when you look at some of the stuff that's happened over the last 18 months. It's abysmal. So I would have thought in those circumstances we'd be looking to safeguard our position a little bit more. I just want to finish up though. One of the previous speakers, talked about, made some rather derisory comments about oppositional, I think, politicians, he said, in relation to into the stadiums. Well, and made a quote. Well, I've got a quote too. It's about the Bourbons. Charles de Talleyrand said, "The Bourbons learn nothing and forget nothing." And if we look at the stadiums, I don't think you could get a better reflection of that. Not so many years ago, North Harbour Stadium was the golden boy. Ready for a covered roof, was going to be home of the Warriors. Mount Smart, by contrast, they were going to look to demolish the eastern stand, turn it into a speedway track. The stadium was presented as a basket case. It was the oppositional politicians who saved that at that stage, and there weren't too many people lining up. You wouldn't have the Mount Smart today. It would be a speedway track. Western Springs, stage one, they were getting evicted, their first eviction, and it was going to get turned into a test cricket match oval for one game a year, if lucky, because there's not too much test cricket and there's lots of boutique venues.
Point of order, irrelevant content to the motion.
Oh my goodness.
Deciding whether we're going to go ahead and delay it or not delay it.
Yes, and I'm pointing out the track record that goes to the side of decisions that are made in here, and how it has just been a relatively few number of people, including with Eden Park in the last term, the person who just spoke, along with the mayor, that they were quite happy to see Eden Park bulldozed. A couple of weeks ago, we voted Eden Park Stage 1, that gives us an international size cricket venue, international rugby venue, and a boutique stadium in between. Is the wrong decision. It's a wrong decision. In the past, with North Harbour Stadium, which they were ready to demolish and sell off, this time last year, I didn't see too many howls of protest from some of the people around here then.
Standing Order 1.4.9, objecting to words. I would like to object to the words around the plans to demolish North Harbour Stadium. That is not correct, and I would like that noted in the minutes.
Absolutely correct.
It is correct.
Absolutely correct. And sell the land.
Look, allegations are easy to make. Can we just see why we're going to delay it or not?
They're not allegations,
They weren't
they're
allegations,
fact.
that they were fact. And it is interesting,
before
the
it
court.
is interesting, Mr. Mayor, when we have people trying to interrupt here. I'm trying to make a valid point of looking at the past, because we can learn from the past here that the track record with stadiums has been abysmal. This is the latest and by far and away the worst. This motion would at least give some degree of protection to the council in Tātaki, particularly in light of the way Western Springs Speedway has been treated. To me, that's an entirely desirable course of action to take. And if it hadn't been taken in the past with Mount Smart, with North Harbour, with Eden Park, with Western Springs, by some of the people around here, they would be in a parlous state. They would be a roll of rubble in some cases today.
Councillor Williamson, please.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. I've been reasonably quiet all day, but I'm going to speak on this because I am going to vote against this, and that's because of a history of mine. I've had 18 lawsuits against me as a minister, from the Crayford Farms to the recreational assets of the old Auckland Harbour Board to the broadcasting assets. And I saw nothing but the legal system used to delay and add cost. And every lawyer that ever advised me said, oh, we'll go to the next level, and that's because they were being paid by billable hours. I think we're better to move on. I voted the other way on the First Amendment, but I'm sorry to the colleagues who would think I should vote this. I'm going to be voting no to this amendment.
Councillor Walker.
I'll just be really brief. As far as prejudicing things, this doesn't stop Ponsonby Rugby and concerts and the like happening at Western Springs. It doesn't stop Auckland FC doing the great job they are playing at Mount Smart Stadium. And one would hope in the time frame in between, our council would get its act together and work out a stadium network strategy, which we don't have. And as John has pretty much alluded, this whole process is just an absolute shambles. You know, we really need to take a step back and put things in order. Certainly an overall network strategy, which we don't have. If we had done that some time ago, we'd be in a much better position than what we are now. So this might go some way to making that happen. Thank you.
Okay, well, I'm going to make sure that this is a division because before somebody else does. So off you go there, Sandra. In favour or against
point of
the
order.
amendment?
I did request, and so did the seconder, that the letter A be included. It's not much work to do. Could that please be included?
I'm told you can only change an amendment with the agreement of the meeting, but is the meeting mind whether there's A in there or not? A? Okay, I think I'll accept the A as long as Q goes in there as well. Favour or against the amendment, please?
Councillor Baker.
No.
Councillor Bartley.
No.
Councillor Dalton.
Against.
Councillor Darby.
Against.
Councillor Ferry.
Against.
Councillor Filipaina.
Against.
Councillor Fletcher.
Against.
Councillor Foley.
I don't think we can do it.
Against.
Councillor Henderson.
No.
Councillor Hills.
No, thank you.
Councillor Lee.
Aye.
Councillor Leone.
Against.
Councillor Newman.
No.
Councillor Sayers.
Or.
Deputy Mayor Simpson. Councillor Stewart.
For.
Councillor Turner.
Absolutely for.
Councillor Walker.
Yes.
Councillor Watson.
Yes.
Councillor Williamson.
Against.
Mayor Brown.
Okay.
So that is lost. 15 votes to 6.
Righto. We're back to the original. And we've debated the original.
I indicated, sorry, Chair.
Councillor Filipaina and Councillor Darby did book some questions on this.
Yeah.
And so
Thank
I'll
you.
submit those.
Max?
Councillor Darby's questions have clearly been answered.
Yeah,
Councillor
no, these
Filipaina
are
has
very
8
short
questions.
ones. Sorry, Max.
Max, you've got to come back.
During both amendments, there was nothing to indicate the questions that I had.
have been answered, hence the pātai to you. Max, under the next steps, 127, 128, I have an issue in regards to what involvement will the governing body have around the feedback form. And I qualify that question based on what Councillor Walker and others have said in regards to the impacts that it will have on the stadia, that when this goes out for consultation, because the feedback form, as we have learned in annual plan and long-term plan, they are very crucial when we go out for our have your says. And that feedback to our community that informs them very briefly but concisely is what I think we need to have a look. So two-part to that question, what will the governing body have in regards to the feedback form and the questions that we have or the statements that we will feed back to our community? Secondly, if the governing body don't, why don't we?
Thank you, Councillor. Wendy, who was here previously, I don't think is here at the moment, but I will be able to answer your question. So the engagement process will be is being designed and run by the engagement team, and a lot of work will go into making sure that the feedback material is robust, fair, and impartial in the way that it presents the information. And we've got some independent academic expertise to review the material to that effect. Now, that doesn't answer your question, but that's a preface. There isn't time for us to come back to the governing body to get approval of the whole public consultation document, but what we can offer is at least a drop-in session to have a look at the feedback form and the rest of the material. And I'm very happy, well, the engagement team, I think, is who will be leading this rather than me, very happy to speak directly with councillors about any concerns, but the drop-in session is probably the best we can do.
Okay, so to you, CEO Phil Wilson, having given that as an undertaking, maybe one or two sessions, let's have a look at it, because I think it's important after what's been debated here around that information that goes out to our community around the options that are going to go out for consultation. So I'm hoping that there is an undertaking, whether it be one or two drop-in sessions or whatever format you decide would be appropriate for the governing body to have input into what we all know is going to be a very crucial decision later on after consultation. So
I'm very happy to support what Max has suggested, and we can make decisions on the basis of comments from councillors.
thank you, Chair.
Just following on from Councillor Filipina, along the same lines, the last time we went out for consultation on a stadium, it was North Harbour Stadium. There were a number of issues in the way that consultation material was presented and the neutrality of the options. I engaged a professor of market analytics to look at it, and I passed it on to the CEO. To put it briefly, he said in respect of that consultation material, based on the information provided, which was the consultation material itself, the three choices are not worded objectively and comparably. This may lead to bias data. So you've had concerns already. What you've said to us is that it's not coming back to any council meeting to undergo any scrutiny. It's been a contentious item. It's going to be a drop-in session. So if I drop into the session and say I want that change, or that seems to me to be unfair, or there's emotive vocabulary, or there's additional detail here that makes something look better, all of which happened in North Harbour, what's going to be the response of that?
Well, I think it's, I understand the dynamic you're describing there. I've only got to offer that we will consider all feedback in good faith. It is worth noting that the engagement team routinely gets independent expert advice about the construction of these feedback forms. I understand the criticism of a particular process previously, but this stuff is taken seriously, and they do get expert research and academic advice, sometimes from the Auckland University, but certainly from others as well. So, you know, there is a degree of rigour around this, please.
Councillor Walker, please.
So, I've raised the issue about the network effects, the impacts on Eden Park, the impacts on Mount Smart Stadium, the impacts on North Harbour Stadium, and there will be impacts on other venues. And the reason that we're going to have impacts is because we've got considerable sums of investment, and those investors are going to want a return on their assets. They're going to want to get as much content into whatever happens at Western Springs as they can. But Aucklanders don't just go to Western Springs. They're interested in having a great stadium like Eden Park. There will be many people that will be supportive of Mount Smart Stadium and the like. So Aucklanders need some information, which isn't in the information that I've read at this point, around how those other parts of the network get hollowed out. What does it do to Eden Park in terms of stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4? They really haven't had any opportunity to feed in, and you may say, oh, you know, they've been asked, but they haven't given us some information. Well, let's get some information. Let's put some information together ourselves and let's touch base with them, because if we've got a situation where, you know, football, the Blues,
Point of clarification.
all sorts of things, this is a question. This is a question. So can we have some work done in the interim so that Aucklanders have got some balanced information on the network? Because realistically, there's only so much investment, there's only so much content. I mean, Auckland's a small place, so is New Zealand for that matter. What does it do? And the other issues that I've raised previously that go to the stadium is where are the studies on the flooding of the motions catchment and the like, and how does that impact on the stadium? Because the motion stream is right on the boundary, and what does that mean?
I think we're asking the public about the stormwater acceptability of these three options. We're just asking them which of those they like.
I'm just raising it as an issue.
You are, but
because increasingly many of our green assets in storms have to be able to cope. And we acknowledge that. This is a major issue. How many houses are we buying?
I suppose the guys will fall off in the mud if it's raining, won't they?
How many houses full?
1,200.
1,200 houses we're buying because of flooding. And we're looking to, you know, turn locations into swamps and the like up at Takapuna in order to do stuff. This is the brave new world. So
I'm happy to
the
answer
public
I'm
is
happy to answer the
interested
question,
in issues
Councillor.
like this.
I think we'll get on and do this. Thank you very much for that point, but you can retreat now. We've had several hours of this, and we're going to have a division on the substantive remaining initial thing that was put up hours ago. And yes, the clarification.
I'm not sure. If you want to vote for, if you want to say you vote for the whole thing, but you oppose one thing, does that still make it be recorded as unanimous? Does it, even though you've been apart against a little bit?
Yeah, you can do that. I mean, if you recall, we passed the 10-year plan with a number of people saying didn't like Part Z or Part.
But if I note I'm against one thing,
It'll be
Yeah,
recorded.
it'll be recorded.
as
It'll be
unanimous.
recorded in the minutes, so.
But to the public, it says it's a unanimous pass, is that
Yeah,
right?
well, you'll have to oppose it if you don't want it to be unanimous. Okay? I'm going to call the whole thing and you can say which bit if you don't like it, or just say yes or no. That's enough. All right, we're going to do it by parts. Sandra will lead this off with
Councillor Baker,
Yes.
Councillor Bartley,
Yes.
Councillor Dalton,
Yes.
Councillor Darby,
4.
Councillor Ferry,
4.
Councillor Filipaina,
Aye.
Councillor Fletcher,
4.
Councillor Foley,
4.
Councillor Henderson,
Yes.
Councillor Hills,
Yes.
Councillor Lee,
No.
Councillor Leone,
Yes.
Councillor Newman,
4.
Councillor Sayers,
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Simpson, Councillor Stewart,
No.
Councillor Turner,
No.
Councillor Walker, Councillor Watson, Councillor Williamson,
No.
Mayor Brown.
Yes.
So that's carried. 14 votes to 7.
But we'll now move on to item, much more interesting item, 11. This is the